Hello, my friends. It's the Crypto Lunatic with a little crypto update. And what do you need to know? Is the market going up? Is it going down? What is going to happen? Now, one thing I can tell you in crypto, everyone's impatient. We all want to know what's going to happen. We all want to read the future. We want to read the future. So, what I'm going to do is give you a few indicators today, things I think that it's a good idea to keep updated with. So, crypto is very volatile. Could go up, could go down, could be a wild ride. It will be a wild ride. You don't get involved in crypto because you're risk averse. Let's start with that. Let us start with that. But here's a few things that you should be keeping an eye on. And if you follow me, I will show you. I will show you what they are. So this is the first one. So this is the Bitcoin ETF overview. This is an exchange traded fund. And this, my friends, is where all the institutional money is going. Now, as an indicator, if loads of money is going into ETFs, that's a good sign. And if it's channeling out of them, then that is not so good. Because these are all professional investors or professional investment funds, and they generally tend to know things before we do, and they have got their finger on the pulse. Now, they don't always get it right, and this should not be. It should not be your only way of keeping up with things, but this is a good place to start. So here's where we look. Look at this. Total Bitcoin spot ETF inflow in US dollars. So this is really the main thing. Now, if we go back to here, so here we are in February 2024. Now, if you look at the bottom figure there, you see total net assets is 65 billion. And as we go along, that figure just gets higher and higher and higher. It fluctuates a little bit, but it's just going up. Notice this. Look, here we are. Here we are in July 2024. It's going up 76, 77, 79. And here we are in October. And look, there was some serious inflows here up to 82. And then a bit of a retrace. Well, actually not much of a retrace if we look at it. In. And this was where the market sort of soared up a little bit. You can see there were some big inflows there. Total net assets were up to 85 billion. Billion, folks. So here we are, middle of the way through that. And then we hit this little glut, didn't we? Look, we saw the inflows go. Total net assets from 89 here, going up to 90, 91, 92, 95. Then we've had a little bit of a retrace, haven't we? But generally keeping the same, 95, 98, 99, up to 100, down to 99, and then a bit of a pullback. Some profits taken. Look, 95. They went out, 95, and now look lately from here, which is the 21st of April, you see 95 billion. And it has only gone up from there, my friends. Look, they're piling cash in to over 1 billion now, over 100 billion. They've been buying, 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 buying. Now look at the period we've had. Lots of selling. Can you see all those red lines? Lots of selling. But lately, it's been lots of buying, which tells us that they maybe know something we don't, and that the big boys with the big money are prepared to throw money into Bitcoin at the moment, which is generally bullish. So will it go down? Well, it could. Of course, it could go down. But this is generally a good sign. We like this. Let's go here to DeFi Llama and just have a little look. Let's see where all the value locked is. And we see that Ethereum still is the market leader with 50 billion in total value locked. But we're going to take your attention to what's actually going on. Let's look at the first thing, active addresses. This is relevant. Which of these are being used the most? And if we click active addresses, we see right at the top is Solana, and then Tron, and then Binance Smart Chain, and then Base, and then Bitcoin. Look, even Polygon there before we get to Ethereum. So although there's a lot of value locked in Ethereum, it is only the seventh biggest blockchain by active addresses. If we're just looking at that. So, and look how far ahead of the curve Solana and Tron are here. So let's have a little look here. DeFi, total value locked. So there's a lot of value locked in Ethereum, but Solana is the second biggest in total value locked, which tells us at the moment that Solana is the most used chain. Solana is definitely got a clear leading on this one. They are the leader. Solana's the leader. So there's all sorts of things here that you can look at, market caps and stuff like that. The app revenue. So let's actually just look at this. The 24-hour app revenue. Let's click on there. And again, look, we see right at the very top is Solana. And it's not even close. There's 5.9 million app revenue in Solana. And second place is Hyperliquid, 1.36 million. Ethereum, a distant third, 1.25 million. So then we have Base, Binance, Sui, Arbitrum, Avalanche. So these are some stats to look at. Now let's see what the whales are doing. What are the whales doing? Now at the moment we see most of them fancy a short. Now it's still marginal. That the short positions are 1.14 billion, the long positions are 1.07 million or billion. And that it seems to be, well, you can't really tell much from that, but it's fairly balanced, which shows you, look, few shorts, few longs, not really much in that. Now, here's an interesting resource. This is Dexu.ai. And this tells us which narratives are currently in fashion. And we've got DeSci, SocialFi, and lending as the top three at the moment. And the only three that are actually in positive equity right now. Now, narratives certainly in crypto, they change a lot. So we don't read a whole lot into this, but this is a way of looking at what is getting the narratives at the moment. Now, there's just a few stats for you, just a few stats. It shows us that the big boys are still putting money into the ETFs that they're stacking at the moment, which is it's a very bullish play for crypto. Now, macro events, we still don't know. Tariffs uncertain, things like that. Yes, it could go down, but it's far more likely that we're preparing for the next stage of a bull run. Highly likely. It's highly likely. Do we know? We can't read the future, but crypto holders tend to be in for the longer term anyway. So is it a good time to get in? Well, it feels that way at the moment. Not financial advice, of course, but stacking is going on. Are we likely to have another push up at some stage this year? I would say that that's highly likely. And that is the way of crypto. That's the way of crypto. It's definitely going to go wild. It's going to go wild. That's how much we know. But when we look at the Bitcoin ETFs, that is a good guide as to where the market is likely to go. And they seem to be stacking. So if the big boys are stacking, it is highly likely that we could be in for some interesting times. But of course, nobody knows. And in the short term, it's very volatile. So my strategy, as ever, for newbies to the crypto space would be buy and hold, not financial advice. And there you have it. So wherever you are on your crypto journey, may you hold your nerve as the markets go wild and the volatility hits. But it's looking good for the future, or at least to as far as we can see at this stage in the game. So, my friends, you continue your crypto journey if you're having fun with it, which is what we encourage you to do here. Never invest more than you can afford to lose, which is always the game. And as long as you do that, then you could have some interesting times, which is what crypto is definitely all about. And if you want more of my little random updates, then do subscribe to the channel, my friends. And if you want another one of my little videos, you will find it just there.